Everybody, welcome to my channel. I'm Aisha, and in today's video we are going to discuss on how to memorize the clinically oriented classification of bacteria, which is based on its gram staining. So based on gram staining, bacteria is classified into gram positive and gram negative, and then there are miscellaneous bacteria that do not typically take up the gram stain, and thus we cannot put them under positive or negative. They do not take up the stain because they might have specialized cell wall, or they may lack a cell wall like mycoplasma, or they may take up different stains except gram stain. So starting with gram staining classification, there are positive and negative. So positive is the one that takes up the gram stain, negative is the one that does not take up the gram stain. We'll look at how gram staining is done once we get to the lab diagnosis. In this video, we'll just look at how to memorize these. So further, these are classified into cocci and bacilli. So cocci are spherical shape, bacilli are rod shaped. So let us start memorizing these. So gram positive cocci. Okay, so they have coccus in their name, and because positive, so S. Okay, so they start with an S and they have a coccus in their name. So staphylococcus and streptococcus. So Staphylococcus, different species are Staphylococcus aureus, and then there is coagulase negative staphylococci. So the name here suggests that there's a test called coagulase test. Okay, so coagulase test can either be positive or it can be negative. So the staphylococci that give a negative reaction, they are called cons, coagulase negative staphylococci, and the ones that give positive, these are Staphylococcus aureus. Okay, so Staphylococcus aureus gives a positive reaction on coagulase test. That's why it's not grouped under these. So the rest of these, like Staphylococcus saprophyticus, it comes under cons. Next is your Streptococcus. There are different ones like Streptococcus pyogenes, Streptococcus agalactiae, Streptococcus viridans, Streptococcus pneumoniae, and Streptococcus enterococcus. So Streptococcus is divided into beta, alpha, and gamma. There are various classifications. This is one of them. So this is based on the hemolytic property. Okay, so hemolytic property. It is classified into beta hemolytic, alpha hemolytic, and gamma hemolytic. So beta hemolytic are pyogenes and agalactiae. How to remember these is BPA. Okay, so B is for beta, P is for pyogenes, A is for agalactiae. So pyogenes and agalactiae are further classified into group A and group B. So pyogenes is A, agalactiae is B. It's easy, right? Which comes first? That's A. Second is B. So this classification is called as Lancefield classification. When you read about Streptococcus in the chapter of skin, you will find this. But right now, just memorize it, okay? So we are reading the gram positive cocci. They have coccus in their name like Staphylococcus and Streptococcus. So wherever you see Streptococcus, it is gram positive cocci. Okay. Next is your alpha hemolytic. So alpha hemolytic, because it's alpha, it's a VIP. Okay, so VI is for viridians, P is for pneumonia. Okay, so VIP, viridians and pneumonia, and then gamma hemolytic is enterococcus fecalis. So gram positive cocci are done. Moving on to gram positive bacilli. Our gram positive bacilli, the mnemonic is A, B, C, D, L, M, N. Okay, so A is for actinomyces, B is for bacillus, bacillus is bacillus cereus, bacillus anthracis. Next, C is for clostridium. So clostridium is an anaerobe. Okay, so anaerobes can be sporing or they can be non-sporing. So Clostridium is a sporing anaerobe, and Clostridium, there are different species like Clostridium tetani, Clostridium perfringens, Clostridium botulinum, Clostridium difficile. So how to memorize this? See, once you read these names, you'll memorize them easily once you keep reading them. But look at these letters like P, B, and D. They all look kind of similar. They're just inverted versions of each other. So Clostridium P, B, D, perfringens, botulinum, and difficile. And then there's tetany. Okay, then A, B, C, D. D is for diphtheroids. So there's this bacteria called Corynebacterium diphtheriae, which comes under your gram-positive bacilli. But then diphtheroids are different than Corynebacterium diphtheriae because your Corynebacterium diphtheriae is the one responsible for causing diphtheria. That means this is pathogenic. It is causing some clinical manifestation. Whereas your diphtheroids are your normal flora. They are present normally in your body. They do not cause any infection, but they are called diphtheroids because they resemble Corynebacterium diphtheriae. And then these are also your gram positive bacilli. Okay, so diphtheroids for D, and then A, B, C, D, then L, M, N. L is for Listeria monocytogenes. M is for your Mycobacterium. Mycobacterium can be leprae, which causes leprosy, or tuberculosis, which causes tuberculosis. So Mycobacterium tuberculosis, Mycobacterium leprae, and then N is for non-tuberculous mycobacteria. That means they are mycobacteria that do not cause tuberculosis, and then N is for nocardia. So that is your gram-positive bacilli, which was A, B, C, D, L, M, N. A is for actinomyces, B is for bacillus. Bacillus can be bacillus cereus or anthracis. C is for your clostridium. Clostridium are your anaerobes. Anaerobes can be sporing or non-sporing. So clostridium is tetany, porphyrogenes, botulinum, and difficile. So P, B, and D, which are like inverted versions of each other. And then D is for diphtheroids. And then there's also Corynebacterium diphtheria, which causes diphtheria. And then L is for Listeria monocytogenes. M is for Mycobacterium leprae and tuberculosis. And then N is for nocardia and non-mycobacterial, non-tuberculous mycobacteria. Okay, so gram positive are done. Next is your gram negative that do not take up the gram stain. Again, these are cocci and bacilli. The cocci are very easy to remember because these are negative, so they start with an NE. Okay, like Neisseria gonorrhoeae, Neisseria meningitis, and then there's Moraxella. So in your A, B, C, Ds, you have LM, LMN. So M and N. So M is for Moraxella, and then as I said, negative. So Neisseria. Neisseria. So Neisseria can be Neisseria gonorrhoeae or Neisseria meningitis. Next, moving on to gram-negative bacilli. Gram-negative bacilli can be divided into Enterobacteriaceae and non-enteric gram-negative bacilli. So Enterobacteriaceae meaning they affect the enteric system, which is your GIT. Okay, so E for Enterobacteriaceae, E for E. coli. E. coli causes diarrhea. Okay, and then there's Proteus. So remember E. coli and Proteus, and for the rest, these end in Ella or Bacter. Okay, even the non-enteric they end either in Ella or Bacter. And then apart from that, there are non-fermenting, and then there's HACEK group. We'll look at these in some time. Let's go back to Enterobacteriaceae. So Enterobacteriaceae meaning they affect your enteric system. So E for entero, E for E. coli, and then there's Proteus. And the rest of these they end in either Ella or Bacter. So let us look at the ones that end in Ella. Okay. So Ella is a girl who kept on saying KMS, KMS. So KMS meaning kill myself. It's a slang, right? So KMS, KMS, because she wanted to get a BBL. So BBL is a um what is it called, like a plastic surgery. So she didn't get a BBL, so that's why Ella wanted to kill herself. So KMS is for Klebsiella, M is for Morganella, S is for Shigella, and S is for Salmonella. Okay, so KMS is this, and then next BBL that comes in your non-enteric. So BBL is for Brucella, Bordetella, and Legionella. Okay, so E. coli, and then KMS, and then BBL. So K is for Klebsiella, Morganella, Shigella, Salmonella, BBL, Brucella, Bordetella, Legionella. So these are your Enterobacteriaceae, these are your non-enteric. Now moving on to the ones that end with bacter. Okay, so one is Enterobacter, one is Citrobacter. These are in your Enterobacteriaceae. And then as for non-enteric, you went to camp in a helicopter. So Campylobacter and Helicobacter. So these are your non-enteric. So you went out of your GIT and you went to camp in a helicopter. So your non-enteric out of your GIT are Campylobacter and Helicobacter. The ones there are in the enteric one are your so Enterobacter and Citrobacter. Okay. And then there are other ones that end in an IA. So these are your Providentiae, Serratia, and Yersinia. So Providentia, Serratia, these are not that important to remember, but Yersinia is important. Okay, so at the end, your gram negative bacilli that are Enterobacteriaceae are E. coli and Proteus, and then these are the ones that are ending in Ella, and then there are the ones that ending in Bacter or IA. Then in your non-enteric again Ella and Bacter. And then there are your non-fermenting non-enteric bacteria. So these are your PABs, okay, PABs. So P for Pseudomonas, A for Acinobacter. Again, it ends in a bacter, so you can remember that ending in bacter is gram negative bacilli. Okay, and then B is for Burkholderia, and then S is for Stenotrophomonas. Okay, Stenotrophomonas. So Pseudomonas, again monas, Pseudomonas, Stenotrophomonas, Acinetobacter, and then Burkholderia. Weird names, but okay. Next is your HACEK group. H is for Haemophilus. There are different types of Haemophilus: Haemophilus influenza, Haemophilus drusi, and so on. And then A is for Aggregatibacter. So A is for Aggregatibacter. C is for Cardiobacterium hominis. E is for Echinella, and K is for Kingella kingae. So this group has a lot of bacteria, and then they have weird names. So just remember them in this way. It will be easy. Keep on looking and you will remember. At the end, we have our miscellaneous bacteria. Like I said, they do not take up the gram stain typically. That's why they're grouped as miscellaneous. So, how to memorize these? Mice, Spiro, Ricket, Bar, Cox, Chlamydia. Okay, keep on saying it. Mice, Spiro, Ricket, Bar, Cox, Chlamydia. So, mice for Mycoplasma, Spiro is for spirochetes. Spirochetes are further classified as BLNT. Okay, blunt. Okay, blunt. So spirochetes are very blunt. So B is for Borrelia, L is for Leptospira, N is for non-venereal Treponema, and then T is for Treponema pallidum. Okay, and then Ricket is for Rickettsia, Bar is for Bartonella, Cox is for Coxiella brunetti, and Chlamydia is Chlamydia. Okay, so my Spiroricket bar Cox Chlamydia. You just have to add the end and these. Okay, so Spiro Keats, Rickettsia, Bar Tonella, Cox Iella, Brunetti. Okay, so I hope this helps you guys to memorize these. Hope this video helped. If it did, then give this a subscribe. I am just gonna revise this once more, just give an overview so that the more the repetitions, I hope it helps in retention. So just the overview is your gram positive cocci had coccus in their name, bacilli is ABCDLMN. Your gram negative cocci start with NE, just like negative, and bacilli can be Enterobacteriaceae that are in your GIT, and then your non-enteric, and then Enterobacteriaceae were E. coli proteus, and the ones that were ending in Ella. So Ella wanted to kill herself, so KMS, and then she didn't get a BBL. So BBL is your non-enteric, and KMS is your Enterobacteriaceae, and then Bacter. So out of your GIT, you went to camp in a helicopter. So Campylobacter and Helicobacter were non-enteric, and then you if you enter your GIT, so Enterobacter and Citrobacter were in your Enterobacteriaceae, and then the ones that were ending in EA, so Providentiae and then Serratia and Yersinia, and then your non-enteric had non-fermenting ones like PABS, and then HACEK group, and your miscellaneous is my Spiroricket bar Cox Chlamydia, and then Spiro further has BLNT blunt. I hope that helps. So thanks for watching. Bye.